let's talk about the game Fallout New Vegas. So when discussing a game, it's best to start at the beginning. In my opinion, the first 2 minutes is the most important part. It has to hook you in and set up everything. One thing is for certain, whether it be a game, film or TV show, the best ones always have a strong opening. So with that in mind, who the hell thought the best way to start Fallout New Vegas was a sodding slideshow? The last time I saw one of these was in school, and it shouldn't require much guesswork to tell you how interesting that was. Getting into the meat and potatoes though, we find ourselves left for dead in the post-nuclear apocalyptic wasteland of Las Vegas, although this is America, you can barely tell the difference. Here we are found by a kind doctor who takes us through the game's character customization. Usually when presented with the option to alter my appearance, I try to make something that closely resembles myself, but then I realised this was possible and thought screw it. We also get to customize our stats using the special system. Unfortunately, I've never played this game, so I have no idea which is the most useful. I decided to downplay charisma, seeing how a face like this will never need it, and considering I also made myself as aerodynamic as possible, I'm going to forget about agility as well. This isn't the end, however, because we also have skills. These are determined through questions and word association. Ooh, slideshows, numerous menu management, and now a questionnaire? Jesus, I haven't been this excited since I went to the post office. So after everything from Rorschach tests to reading this guy's first novel, I finally get away to explore the world. This giant, sprawling giant... What the hell am I looking at? So they call the world of New Vegas the Mojave Wasteland, which cleverly means two things in this game. Firstly, it means a barren and desolate area, but if you look more closely, you can find out it also means a waste of your fucking time. I get that this is supposed to be the post-apocalypse, but if you're creating a game, I feel like you can take more creative liberties than sand. This is supposed to be an open world adventure, and yet it's emptier than a fat man's biscuit tin. Not that there isn't stuff here, but it isn't full of the most engaging landmarks I could think of. One example that springs to mind is a museum run by robots, and if you talk to one, you get a tour. Like, an actual museum tour. Nothing happens, it's just a tour. I get that this is world building, but could you do it in a way that doesn't feel like school? Between this, a slideshow and a questionnaire, I'm only a few minutes away from finding someone getting fingered behind the bike shed. Although don't doubt this game doesn't have stuff to say. Fallout New Vegas boasts over 100 hours of content and 65,000 lines of dialogue. Forgive me for being pessimistic, but I doubt every one of those lines is script writing gold. In short, a lot of the quests come down to the various ins and outs of social political conflicts, but need I remind you, this kind of stuff is happening in real life, and in my opinion, it's way more engaging. In this world, the whole story revolves around two groups fighting for control over the Hoover Dam, as it's the best power source in the area, but not that you should be surprised a war is happening around it. This is America after all, and even though this game takes place over 200 years in the future, stealing natural resources will always be in their blood. Also, I know there's technically a war going on, but did no one think about tidying up even a little? There is no reason for a room like this to be so dusty. You have a broom right there! So as you play as the middleman in this conflict, sort of doing what you want when you want, the game is spent mostly walking around and helping people with their problems. Emphasis on walking around! Sorry to get back on this, but god, why is this world so tedious to navigate? I know nuclear bombs are destructive, but I didn't realize they had the ability to destroy the concept of color. The only thing you can do to make the exploration more interesting, at least in the game world, is to listen to the radio, but half of the soundtrack is country music! Do I even need to tell you why this is a bad thing? When you eventually do find a quest, there's usually several ways to go about them. Especially in story-related missions, there's a lot of options, many being pacifist and many being aggressive, which is an area the game really shines in, as you do get to choose your own playstyle. I prefer to take a peaceful approach to conflict, especially since developers put a lot of time into making these intricate plot threads, but that mantra lasted about as long as my patience did, because whoo! These guys are chatty. Doesn't matter if it's the shyest person in the world or bloody Casanova, their dialogue trees will be spread as far as a hooker's heels. Also, the delivery on the lines they give is really weird. The acting is fine, but it's the animation that plays with them that really bugs me. You can have a voice actor chewing the scenery like it's made of licorice, but when that line comes out of a character, they have absolutely no movement other than their mouth. Now, if these characters were having a conversation about cunnilingus, I'd understand, but they're not. I have genuinely taken out insurance policies that interested me more than this game. New Vegas' combat didn't exactly grab my attention either. When I realized this game appeals to me like a sledgehammer appeals to my big toe, I decided to dick around and use the more unconventional weapons. Thanks to the tests at the start, I had proficiency in melee weapons, so went around most of the game with a machete. However, this wasn't great either because this game doesn't really do close quarters combat. It's more like vaguely in that direction quarters combat. The hit detection is definitely off by some way. I won't stay totally negative, however, because while this game is not good in my opinion, I do still sort of enjoy it. There are a handful of quests that do get interesting, and using some of the game's more unique weapons is a lot of fun. If you add a mod that lets you max out your stats and gives you free weapons, it's a lot better. Sure, there's no challenge to it, but the problem wasn't that the game was trying my skills, rather it was trying my patience. Now, if you excuse me, I'm gonna clean up the place. That wasn't a metaphor, by the way. I'm just tired of these dusty fucking rooms!